Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Iyun. Today we're learning Masechah Shabbos, Perek Zayin, Mishnah Vav, and Zayin. Mishnah Vav I want to talk about today in Iyun. Talk about a case where you're camping, let's say, and there's a well of water. You don't have any, you ran out of water. You ran out of your Poland spring water, and there's a well of water, or spring, let's say, and you want to draw water from it, but you don't have a pail, or you don't have a rope. So you want to improvise. So you have a butternut squash with you, because who doesn't travel with a butternut squash? A raw butternut squash, you cut it open, and you want to put it in the well. You tie it maybe with, like the Mishnah at the end, with, you don't have a rope, so you use a grapevine or something like that, or a vine, and you lower it into the water. The problem is that the butternut squash is very light, it's going to fall to the top. So you have to fit a rock in the bottom of the butternut squash, so therefore it'll go down under the water and retrieve some water for you. So the Mishnah says that if the rock is going to fall out, it's not, you didn't fix it tightly into the bottom of the butternut squash, into the walls of the butternut squash. If it's going to fall out, it's considered separate from butternut squash, and therefore it's a basis level also. The butternut squash is a base, it's holding a rock, and that makes the whole thing muksa. Or if you fit it in, then it's okay. It's not going to fall out, then it's okay, because it's batel to the kli. It's part of this makeshift pail that you made on Shabbos. It's okay. And similarly, the Mishnah says that to take a vine and tie it on Shabbos is okay, because the vine's not going to break, right? So the question is, are we talking about a vine that you prepared before Shabbos, or a rock you prepared before Shabbos, or even a rock that you did before Shabbos? The poskim and the Gemara talks about, times you have to actually prepare something, not prepare something, right? There's Gemara that talk about ben hashmashos, right? If it was muchan ben hashmashos, is it considered muchan for the rest of the day? These things weren't muchan ben hashmashos, the rock. We're talking, presumably, on Shabbos, you really didn't have water. You didn't prepare the rock. You didn't write something on the rock. You didn't tie the rock down. You didn't have you didn't say something, I want this rock for Shabbos. Presumably, the Mishnah includes these cases also, that you can just decide on Shabbos to make a mucha. Now, these are called muksa machmas gufa, a reed, a vine, a rock. These muksa machmas gufa, there's no purpose, there's no use for these. Not kalim. These are not like foods, things that you normally eat, or utensils like a fork and a knife that you normally eat with, or any kli, a pail of water that's normally used as a kli. Here you're making a makeshift kli on Shabbos. Now the butternut squash is food, so it's muchan, but the rock is not. So how can you even fashion this thing? How can you tie the vine around, even if you had a pail or you had a butternut squash? How can you use it? These things are muksa machmas gufo. So we pass on the Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says the only type of muksa really is where you have grogros and smukim. You take raisins or you take dried figs and you put them on your roof to dry before Shabbos. Where the Gemara says lo chazi, it's not fit because you're waiting for the middle of Shabbos when they're going to be ready. At the Ben Hashmash is not ready. On Friday evening it's not ready. And also your dachinu b'yadayim, you put it on your rooftop. You pushed it away. If you didn't push it away, you just find a rock lying around, or a reed or a vine lying around. That's not muksa if you decide to use it on Shabbos. Even though there's no purpose and no function for it on Shabbos, it wasn't in the negative category. According to Reb Shimon, right, that's machlokas. The Gemara said, Reb Yehuda isleim muksa, Reb Shimon leisleim muksa. What's the machlokas? Machlokas is just about our case, right, where something's neutral. A rock, you're not going to say is set aside for business-like purposes, like something like a sawmill, or a bulldozer, or even a hammer, something which is klishulatal ister, is usually used for business-like purposes, and that means it's pushed away from Shabbos, so it's muksa. Here, it's something which is neutral. A rock, no one thinks about, right? You can use a rock for good, you can use it for malacha, you use it for not malacha, so it's neutral. When it's neutral, we hold like Reb Shimon, leisle muksa, and therefore, you could even fashion this makeshift pail on Shabbos and tie the vine around it as a rope. Because these things are, even though they're muksa machmas gufo, there's neutrality over here. It's not from malacha, not from malacha. So I can decide and make it something I want. It's not called muksa. Reb Shimon holds leisle muksa. The only time it's considered muksa according to Reb Shimon is when you push it away before Shabbos, or even if you don't push it away before Shabbos, it's a kli shemalachto leiser. It's usually used for a hammer. Is used to build, or it's something which is yesesh macharesha, a bulldozer, or something which you can't move, and of course it's only used for malacha. So those things are in the negative already. Therefore, those things you have to be meichen for Shabbos. Other things like a rock or a vine, you don't have to be meichen for Shabbos. And that's why you can use these things even if you don't prepare them before Shabbos. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.